Yeah, I'm here with Logan Stieber, Jaggers. We're here to just see a little kind of behind the looks of winning my second national title and a little behind the scenes of the recovery aspect, the training, going into Big Ten, going into nationals, just kind of a behind the looks scene.
Behind the looks scene?
I wasn't going to say nothing.
Best rivalry in all of college wrestling on this night's Bo Bartlett gets his arm raised.
Yeah, I would say probably from our last duel, which was Valentine's Day, right? It's February 14th. We wrestled Penn State. Jesse lost to Bartlett. We had about a 3-week window between that and Big Tens. And we worked really hard during that stretch. I don't know if, for those that don't really know, college wrestling, once you get into the January, February, and you're competing every Friday, sometimes Friday, Sunday, there's not a lot of time to do a lot of heavy training in terms of workload. It's more technical, tactical, and then you got to kind of ramp down every week before your competition, cut weight. And with Jesse, I think he's there's never a practice off for him because how much he gives every day. I always say he gets 10 out of 10 out of every single workout because of his effort. But with that comes a lot of miles out. Obviously right after NCAA's last year, he was trying to make the Olympic team, and it was heavy training. In the summer, obviously there wasn't an event on the horizon when he didn't make the team, but still every workout's a 10 out of 10. He tries so hard. So, you really got to kind of pull back on him down the stretch. And I knew that as long as we didn't run him into the ground and we tapered well, and he had the pop, which I thought his pop at the NCAA tournament was fantastic. I thought he looked really fresh, a lot of energy. That all that workload that he puts in for 12 months a year would show. And it was more so the easiest job in the world was just trying to make sure he felt good.
You guys do such a good job, and you guys have done kind of what I want to do. Whereas you ask about the training leading up to Big Tens and Nationals, and I don't actually know what the training is because I just trust in it and do it. So it's I don't really know what 2 weeks before Big Tens, what I was doing Monday compared to Friday. I kind of just come in and do what you guys say, and just because you guys have done what I've done, and I trust your coaching.
I think the other thing, obviously, besides us tapering on your workload from a sort of wrestling and volume standpoint, we really leaned on our sports performance director, Kevin, to make sure you're hitting your recovery modalities, where there is science and some things that can increase your chances. You're foolish to not take them. So here at Ohio State, obviously, we have a plethora of things between the light bed and float tank, and to make you feel like your body's more ready. So I think you and Kevin did a great job during that 10 days between Big Tens when we left for NCAAs of making sure that your body was primed. So you guys can take a little tour and show them some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So as he was getting ready for nationals, right, we were training pretty hard leading up to the Big Ten. So a couple of 2-a-days a week, obviously hard practices and stuff. And what I saw, right, as strength conditioning coach was a lot of his jump metrics were actually decreasing. So you could see the fatigue kind of manifest. Now, Jesse is an animal and he wants to train all the time, and I kind of let that ride through the Big Ten championship season. Obviously, Jesse didn't do as well as he wanted to do in the Big Ten, so we sat down as a staff and said, well, what can we do to alter the training plan to make sure that when the NCAAs approach, we are ready to be where we want to be? And the force play really helped us with that. We jump once a week throughout the season. And so based on his outputs on the force plate, we intervened with a recovery strategy that was 10 days. Every day he had a red light bed session for 20 minutes. And what does that do? It's supposed to remove a lot of metabolic waste and help him get into a better readiness state for not only practice, but recovery from the previous training session. 3 times he had the Sava bed session, and that was usually after our hardest training day. and positioned just before an off day so he could really relax and facilitate the recovery process leading into the off day. It's vibroacoustic therapy. So there's a soundtrack that you hear in your ears. You have a weighted blanket on a vibrating bed, and that's supposed to mimic a deep tissue massage type sensation. He needed to do it for at least 11 minutes. We put him in for a 24-minute cycle each time that he did it to maximize efficiency, but we saw great results. He absolutely loved it. And then after training, hot and cold contrast therapy, sometimes just cold, basically whatever he wanted to do that day for at least 10 to 15 minutes. And the tubs are set to a distinct temperature that we know elicits the right response for us, and that's down in our training room. You know, the mindset for Jesse and wrestling in general is you want to do all you can to prepare physically for these big tournaments, right? And so what does that mean? That means more time on the mat, more time training, individuals with your coaching staff. And a lot of times when we get ready for, especially the NCAA championships, we want to remove a lot of that stress. The hay is in the barn, so to speak. We want to let the guys recover and be able to operate at their best. And that's counterintuitive from the mindset that Jesse has, right? He's an absolute animal, so he wants more time on the mat. And it's our job as the coaching staff to make sure that, hey, we pull back on the reins a little bit when we need to. And that's exactly what we did leading up to the championships.
Yeah, so first round I had Pit Kid. First match was a good match, just get the jitters out, wrestling in front of 20,000 people. Picked up a tech fall in second round, wrestled one of my good buddies, wrestled at my club. Trained with him since I was 8 years old. And, he's a tough kid. He's going to come at me for 7 minutes. So, kind of the same match we had at Big Tens, just ended up majoring him. Going to the next round, we got Vance Von Bar. Kid's a hammer. At the dual meet, he kind of gave it to me. Gave me the pace a little bit. And, just going into it. There's some game plan changes. Week before, we'd sit down, watch some film. We knew going into that match, we had to keep him on one hand when he gets to the leg. He's really tough when he gets two hands to it. And, just trying to put points on the board, especially in that first period, trying to build a lead. So, we got 3 takedowns in the first period. Second period, escape, another takedown. Might have got 2 in the second period. And then third, it was just, being tough in the hand fight. He's got a really good hand fight. Pops to that single leg. So, I just knew I had to stay focused, stay in the hand fight, or else that match could easily slip inside into his favor.
I'd say with Von Bauer too, it was like, it kind of caught you off guard a little bit in the dual meet. Just in terms of how tough he was, to be honest. Not that we ever overlook anybody, but he's really dangerous. Obviously, he's got that rocker step shot where he kind of over tight pulls back, and if you let him get his hands locked, like he's an elite finisher there. So I think some of the plan was to just make sure we're staying way ahead in the hand fight, and so that he can't really ever set his feet or set his hands to get to your leg. But you wrestled him really, really well and really smart and followed everything kind of to a T.
Yeah, and then to the semis, it's beat me twice this year. In the dual meet, I wrestled the finish a little too fast, tried to limp arm out, and he catches the 2-on-1, takes me down. Big Tens, wrestled a little too slow, he 360s on me, and I get the takedown up that way. So, I had a lot of time from the dual meet to nationals or Big Tens to nationals to kind of hone in on the finish. And then, third period, I get in. I think I wrestled really well. I thought I had the takedown at the end of regulation, and then now we're in a barn burner overtime match. No takedown in the overtime. Then we go to ride out. He's doing some weird stuff, starting optional. And then he's immediately, kind of bombarding me, getting weight on my hand so I can't seal off. And then, again, another roll, and I win the match. I guess I got my ride out. We kind of had, a mid-match game plan where we just had to get our hands locked. Every time I've rode Bartlett, it's try to ride him on a spiral or ride a double thigh pry. And he always sealed off one side, ends up getting the escape. So mid-match, Jaggers yells to me, got to get your hands locked. Got to get your hands locked. And I guess just feet, hands locked, put him down. That was kind of the game plan, was to get 3 10-second chunks.
That actually kind of happened on a fly.
Yeah.
On the fly of how he was riding you during his 30 seconds on top. was, you know, he basically split the 30s into like a couple 10s, right? He got you to the edge, lift and return, boom. Then you look at the clock and it's like, shoot, now I only have 19 seconds to get out. And then it was like, then you had 7 seconds to get out, or 9, maybe 7 or 9. That's when you hit the roll. So kind of just learned, kind of took a page out of his playbook. You know, we always have a plan for overtime, and depending on who the athlete is, are we going to go down right away? You know, where are we going to be? Should we defer, let them go down and ride them out, and then we can go neutral? Like, there's different schools of thought based on the individual, but I think, you know, with him, once you got the escape and it became about riding him out, I think it was clear that the only way you were going to be able to do that, because of how good he is on bottom, was to shrink it down into like 3 micro rides. And that's with, you know, every time you've ever tried to ride him, you've tried to ride him off a whistle star, you try to break him down, right? You know, when you break him down with thigh pry, he seals off, gets a hand control, and then when he gets to his feet, you're not connected. So it was almost like what I was just trying to get your attention and tell you, like, listen, he's gonna get to his feet, just make sure that you can lock and get a tight lock and turn it into a few micro rides. So the roll at the end scared the crap out of me. I think you were with Muzakis, right, at the time, so you weren't in the corner.
Yeah, I was in the corner. I was watching it from the side with Tom, and you know, on the restart when Jesse was down, I was like, man, this is a little scary.
Yeah.
Once he got away, to me, I told Coach Ryan that he's gonna ride him, and obviously he's got to do it, and we didn't know. So on the last exchange, we didn't know how you got your hands locked. Like, I had to go watch it because we were coaching, we were kind of watching, and like, I had to watch it multiple times to figure out like how when he rolled, you were able to get your hands locked in the high cross. Like, it was just, you know, I mean, your interview was funny. The I'm tougher.
The inch to get out. I'm tougher. That's it.
But honestly, like, I mean, tactically, like, you made the right decisions there, right? So it was very exciting from the, you know, 100 feet away. So it was just very smart under pressure. You know, being able to make good decisions 10 minutes into the match is not easy to do. So it was.
That's just funny. Is Tom? I saw Tom in the tunnel. He's like, I don't know how you get your hands locked. Let it roll. Let it roll. Like, dude, I don't know. It just.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I mean, it was probably hard to see if you saw it live, like, without taking your eyes off to do coaching and watching at the same time. It was,
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing too is that, you know, throughout the match, I think at the Big Tens, you got an edge warning, stalling warning early in the match with him, and, you know, making sure that you wrestled the rest of your match correctly so that you had one to burn if need be, I think was key. You know, I think maybe to avoid the roll next time, just lift him up for 7 seconds and walk around. You know what I mean? Like, treat him like he was a baby Bjorn in your front pocket. So yeah, that was crazy. And then we really botched the high five. I went chest
bad.
and you went high five, knocked my lanyard off. But
I thought you were gonna put a hand out, so I was like, I'm just gonna hit him in his stomach.
yeah, that was about as emotionally charged as I've been probably since last year.
Yeah. So then we had to find a little strip. Yeah, like the little strip where there was the warm-up mats. So then we had to run around, try to find a warm-up mat, end up finding a little strip. We wanted my warm-up to finish 30 minutes before my match. So I got a good warm-up in, and then that 30-minute period's just about cooling down, relaxing a little bit, get some fuel in me, some water. And then, you know, right when I'm on deck, you do a little warm-up, just kind of pace, stretch out a little bit, get in the right headspace, and then, you know, you're running out for national finals. And, you know, we had Brock Hardy, got me at Big Ten, stung me twice, super crafty wrestler, funky, hard to finish on. So I knew going into it was going to be a barn burner, but our game plan was just to, you know, make flurries happen. I think when flurries happen for me, it's good. And then, you know, I get taken out of my back off the wrist, down 5-0. It's kind of worst case scenario in the national finals.
I'm tougher than he is.
Nice shot there by Hardy. Look at that. Dumps him off to the side, keeps the elbow. He's going, look at that.
You know, when they were challenging it, they told me in the corner, they're like, we got to get one at the end of this period. going in this period, it's a new match, 5-4. So
That was the turning point.
yeah, definitely. So 30 seconds left. Start a sprint in the first period, which I feel like doesn't happen too often. So I knew I had to go get one. Underhook, throw it by, doesn't get it, slip off the head to a double. Then I ride back in the match, 5-4.
Double from Jesse Mendez.
In the second, Artie's eyes come on. His level's already changed.
Jesse Mendez, boy, that was nasty.
Now we got some wrestling.
Second period, he picks bottom. And I kind of felt I was just ahead in the hand fight. I felt like I can go get another one, so we cut him off rip. And ended up getting a nice snap down go behind, kind of misdirection, like fake right one left, straight to his belly. And it's kind of a turn we've talked about all year. Just 2-on-1 roll through. And I had a cinch to the hip, and I felt I either had to pull him back or roll through, and showed me roll through. So
Consistent movement. He's disruptive.
Nice counter score by Mendez. That was nasty. Snapping over. Keep switching sides on him here. Bury it up on the middle. Lock in the hip. There you go.
What a performance here by Mendez.
Jesse Mendez is going off right now.
11-6, and then from there it's I don't really have to go get another. Just staying super disciplined in the hand fight, not going out of bounds, and then kind of waiting fastball. If he shoots, I see an opportunity to score, put it away. You take it. If he doesn't, still try for the counter, but obviously don't over chase anything. And yeah, just a lot of game planning. Just knowing I have to be super diligent with my left hand. I think that's kind of what cost me at Big Tens is I let him control that left side, and just a lot of focus things. I think my focus was a little off at Big Tens. Get stung twice. I'm usually pretty disciplined about keeping guys off my legs, but he got to my legs twice that match. And I think it was a discipline thing. And me and Jaggers sat down at Big Tens, talked about it for a while, like an hour, just where my headspace was at. My focus wasn't there. I was a little undisciplined in my stance. So those are all aspects that are going into the national finals that we're thinking about. And obviously we watched film before, pick out a couple small technical things, and then you got to execute it.
Yeah, I would say with Hardy at Big Tens, that just looked like a little bit like you went out a little bit as if it was more like one of those freestyle matches where you slap your knee, we're gonna feel each other out. So that's why I call just a readiness issue. And a couple times he timed up your fakes pretty well. Big Tens, he didn't sting your fake on your step, but he on your pullback. So you would fake, and then as you pulled back, he would follow up your fake. So we talked to Big Tens, and just about just being a little bit more twitchy and a little bit more strainy in every movement, and I think that puts you a little bit on more high alert. When you're really twitchy, and when you're leading the dance, I always say that like lead the dance, don't follow. Then he's reacting to everything you're doing. He always follows whatever plan we have for a certain match or whatnot. Most of the time, it's about him just freewheeling and being the athlete wrestler that he is. But in the big time ones, you gotta sit down and come up with a little bit of a strategy and just have a little heightened sense of awareness of what some guys do. And I thought he wrestled the whole tournament brilliantly.
With Jesse, it seems, when he speaks, it seems really easy just to trust the coaches and listen to a plan. But usually that's not the case. And Jesse, just a one-of-a-kind athlete that is fully bought in. So, he never questioned, if something was wrong. Even after losing 3 matches, in the regular season, he fully believed in what the plan was and what we were doing. And even after Big Tens, he was able to listen and realize, okay, well, I need to fix, a couple things, but, Jesse's a guy who we believe in that he always can win. So when he doesn't win or he makes a little mistake, it's just okay, let's just fix the mistake. He's got a great chance of winning, and just being able to make the mid-match adjustments. I mean, we saw it in the semis at the Nationals with Bartlett, on top and getting his hands locked, and even on the break at the in the finals. They're reviewing it, and it's kind of like, well, is it going to be 2 points? Is it going to be 3 points? And just, me and Jay just saying, listen, it doesn't matter, whatever the points they give them, you got to weigh, let's score this takedown. And if you watch the match, you see him, he's brushing his head a lot, right? So Hardy's a really good wrestler, hard to score on. And every time, Jesse kept putting his head down, and Hardy couldn't see when he was shooting. You blast double him, and then it's okay. Now we're back in the match, and again, it's the way Jesse describes it. It's really easy. Oh, just listen to the plan. Sounds good. Listen to the plan. It's gonna work out. It doesn't always work that way. So to have someone like Jesse who's so fully bought in and fully trusts what we say, and unfortunately, maybe we're not always right. We don't always have the exact perfect decision or advice to give, but when you fully believe in the people around you, man, you can really wrestle freely, and that's what he did. And he's a man.